Well, thank you everyone for coming to see our presentation on social workers' role within the ALS community. My name's Melissa Coll. I'm one of the social workers in the Philadelphia area. I've been with our organization for almost 17 years now, which sounds crazy to me. And I've been a social worker for a lot longer than that. We don't need to do the math there. But always in medical social work. Anne and I actually worked together in a previous job at Pennsylvania Hospital.
Went to graduate school together.
Yes, so a long time ago. Yeah.
I'm Anne Cooney. I'm also a social worker with ALS Mid-Atlantic, and I've been with the group for almost 13 years now. My background is also medical social work, and I absolutely love working for this organization, the people that we get to meet and work with as far as colleagues, patients, and families. It's just been so rewarding, and as Dr. Simmons said, it really has been a privilege to be a part of this. So thank you so much for coming and listening to us today. Okay. So we're going to start with, who is your social worker? Now, most of you in here probably know who your social worker is, but when you were all initially diagnosed, that's when you are assigned a social worker. We're here to support and advocate for you during this ALS journey. We're kind of your go-to person when it comes to finding out about resources that we have to offer through ALS Mid-Atlantic, as well as community resources. Many of our people, when they are initially diagnosed, are still working and may work for quite a while, but at some point they may need to make the decision to stop work, and we can also really guide them through that process and get them connected with Social Security Disability, Medicare, kind of guide you with, looking if you have this available to you, short and long-term disability, and long-term care insurance, which is something that we'll talk about a little bit later as well. So, I always say to everybody, when you have questions about things, if it's a medical question, you want to go to your clinic team. But if it's a non-medical question, you want to call your social worker. And if we're not the right person, we will get you to the right person. But at the end of the day, you want to keep our name and number handy so we can really guide you with any questions that you might have along the way.
Okay. So next we're going to talk about the ALS treatment centers. So our team here at ALS United Mid-Atlantic, we collaborate with some of the best ALS physicians and clinics within our region. And the clinics really emphasize quality of life and hope. And even as Dr. Simmons said earlier during lunch, there's been research and studies that show patients' improvement in quality of life by attending an ALS clinic. So hopefully everyone that's here living with ALS is connected to a clinic. If you're not, reach out to your social worker and we can help you get connected to one. But the clinic really allows you to receive one-stop shopping, where you go to the clinic for one full day of seeing a whole interdisciplinary team. Anne's going to talk a little bit more about the different team members within the team. But really, regardless of whatever clinic you attend, or if you don't attend a clinic, that's okay too. At ALS United Mid-Atlantic, we serve anybody living with ALS and their families, so regardless of the clinic. And part of our team is at all of the following clinics that I was just going to mention. The Jefferson Weinberg Certified Center of Excellence at Thomas Jefferson University Hospital. I attend that, as well as Anne, Janie, who's back over there, Gail, Elisa. We all collaborate with the team there at Jefferson. And we also have the Philadelphia VA ALS clinic that Anne, Janie, and I attend and work with that team. And then in South Central PA, we have the Certified Center of Excellence at Penn State Hershey Medical Center, that we have a lot of our team members there: Shannon, Annette, Kirsty, Alaire, Aaron. I forgot someone. Maureen. Sorry. I'm like looking in a row.
She's not
and I'm like, she's
there.
not there. I had it in my notes. And then we have North Central PA that has the Recognized Center at Lehigh Valley with Jessie that's back here. And then the Recognized Center at Geisinger Danville Hospital. the ALS clinic at Geisinger, Scranton, and the ALS clinic at Geisinger, Wyoming Valley, that Mary Beth attends all 3 of those. And then we have a couple more. In Central and Southern New Jersey, we have the Certified Center of Excellence at Hackensack Meridian, Health Jersey Shore University, and we collaborate with the Joan Dancy and Pals Foundation at that clinic. And then in Delaware, we have the Tidal Medical Center ALS clinic that Kate Adamek attends. I don't see Kate here today. I thought she might be. So it's really a great way to go, get connected with your team, and really get the best care. So if you are not, like I said, if you're not connected, definitely reach out to your social worker.
Okay. So this is just kind of a snapshot. It's kind of based on the Jefferson ALS clinic because that's where we are on site. But I'm sure with all of the clinics that we've mentioned, this is very similar as well. So at Jefferson, the team that sees you is obviously starting with your neurologist, who is a motor neuron specialist, and then usually hand in hand with the neurologist is the nurse practitioner. So, Dr. Ilieva and Lourdes at the Jefferson Clinic work very much kind of hand in hand together, going in and seeing patients. And then we have our pulmonologist, who will also be working very closely with the respiratory therapists at clinic, and they will come in and see you and do the breathing tests and make recommendations based on that. We have the palliative care physician, who is someone who can really work with you, discussing, beginning to think about advanced directives or end-of-life care and so forth, and she's a really vital part of our clinic there at Jefferson. The clinical research team, the beautiful thing about Jefferson is we do have that dedicated research lab right there on site, and they are a part of our clinic and come over and see patients, talk with them about different clinical trials that you might be appropriate for, and they really bring a lot to the table as well. We have our physiatrist, which is a doctor of physical medicine and rehab, and he works very closely with the physical therapists and occupational therapists coming in to see you in the exam room, and they work together as a team to do assessments and make recommendations. And then we have our speech-language pathologist and our dietitian, who tend to work a lot together as well, regarding all things with your speech, swallowing, and nutrition. They all kind of seem to cross over with one another as time goes on. And then, from ALS Mid-Atlantic, we have our nurse/mental health nurse, Gail Hausman, and social workers, myself, Melissa, and Janie. And we tend to come in many times together to see you and check in and see how you're doing, answer questions you might have, just whatever the issues may be, we try to address them with you during clinic. Then we have the genetic counselor, who is really important in identifying the family history, certain genes, certain things that may be within your family that they can work on and kind of educate you more on, when probably you never really knew about these things before. And then finally, the medical assistant, who is like the unsung hero who does everything and keeps the day going and keeps us on point, and she's checks you in, takes all your vitals, and then keeps everybody else within the team going. So this is a good sample of what your clinic team looks like, and I'm sure it's very similar to the other clinics that we mentioned.
Okay. Now we'd like to talk a little bit about some of the programs that we offer through ALS United Mid-Atlantic. And all of these that we're going to discuss, if you're not familiar with them or you have questions about them, once again, we encourage you to reach out to your social worker. I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of calls, guys.
Also, going into our website, on the website, alsmidatlantic.org, is a description of all of these things that we're going to be talking about. So you can go back and review everything as well.
So first off is the Mike Kilpatrick ALS Transportation Program. And I think I probably don't have to explain this, but for many people, as ALS progresses, transportation can become a challenge. And so your social worker can review various options as far as purchasing or renting an accessible van, exploring local paratransit services, or even local services like wheelchair Uber or Lyft and things like that. And then besides that, we also have an accessible van service for that's available on a limited basis more in the southeastern Pennsylvania and adjoining South Jersey area to take people to medical appointments and clinic visits. Evelyn, who I don't believe is here today, is the coordinator of that program, and she does such a wonderful job scheduling everything with our drivers, Paul and Frank, who, if any of you have met them, everybody instantly loves them. They do a great job. We just typically ask, again, if you have, whether it's a clinic visit or a medical appointment that you've seen really challenged and how you're going to get there, reach out to your social worker. We do require 2 weeks notice as well as a person to accompany you on the van. But other than that, you can reach out to your social worker. The next program is the Marjorie Scheimer Durable Medical Equipment Loan Program. Now, this program provides durable medical equipment at no charge for people that either maybe they don't have insurance or they have insurance but it has a very high deductible or no DME coverage for that. Most of the clinic teams, I feel like, are very well versed, especially the physical and occupational therapists, in when they're recommending or suggesting equipment, whether it's something that's ordered through insurance, it may be something that we could offer through the loan closet, or if it would be a self-purchase. Our rule of thumb, we really encourage anyone that's looking at equipment or looking to buy equipment on their own, just check in with your social worker, even if it's a quick email, to see if it's something that we may have in our loaner closet. Because we really understand the financial impact of this disease, which is why all these programs have been created to help offset some of that. So some of the examples of the equipment that we have in our equipment loaner closet are power wheelchairs, transport and companion wheelchairs, and transfer devices like gate belts and transfer boards, overbed tables. These are just some of the things. You can always reach out to your social worker. So in the southeastern Pennsylvania, central and southern New Jersey and Delaware areas, Larissa is the coordinator, and she does such a great job. She's back there. Mary Beth is the coordinator for Northeast and North Central area loaner closet, and Shannon is the coordinator for the South Central area. So definitely reach out to one of them or your social worker if you need some equipment. We also encourage people to check. We have a Facebook Marketplace page, and if you don't have a link to that, one of your social worker or someone on your team can send that to you. A lot of people will donate stuff on there or sell or buy stuff. I mean, some people have bought an accessible van on there, so it's worthwhile to take a look at that. Next is the Scott Mackler Assistive Technology Program, and this program provides assistive technology devices that aren't often covered by insurance. And Elisa Brownlee, she's not hiding in the back there, well to me, she coordinates this program. Elisa is our assistive technologist, and as I always say, our tech guru. Anything tech, go to Elisa. I call her all the time for stuff. And she's so knowledgeable. But through this program, she can lend out devices like remote door chime to call for help, environmental control units that offer hands-free access to TVs and other types of devices. She's really knowledgeable also on to make your home accessible, like with Alexa or Google Home. So any type of tech devices, Elisa is your go-to person. And the next program, our accessibility program, which assists with funding for the installation of temporary modular ramps as well as rental stair glides for people that don't have means to pay for these type of home modifications. Because this type of equipment is not something that would be covered under insurance. And most homes are not designed or constructed to accommodate the needs for accessibility, safety, and independence as this disease progresses. Elisa is also the coordinator of this program, and she offers a virtual home assessment. That would be the first step if you're looking to, if you need a ramp or stair glide, is to schedule a virtual home assessment with Elisa, who is also a certified home modification specialist. So she wears several hats. Again, she's so knowledgeable. Lisa, how long did you say you've been with us now? 29 years. That's how knowledgeable she is about ALS. And really can help people determine what makes the most sense economically as well. Like, should we be maybe saving some of this money for care in the home and do a modification slightly differently that can be more economical. So she's available to our patients. You can schedule like a FaceTime or a Zoom. She will send you a list of things that she needs measured before your visit so that you're prepared. And if you can have someone on the FaceTime to walk around and show her everything, and then she can make recommendations. And next is resources for military veterans. Veterans are twice as likely as civilians to be diagnosed with ALS. And in 2008, back when actually the year I started, about a month after I started, ALS became a service-connected disease for the VA. And has since, through advocacy efforts, become 100% service-connected disability. And what that means for our veterans is that they are eligible for both compensation and medical care through the VA. And this has really been life-changing for a lot of our veterans to be able to access the services through the VA. And so if you are a veteran and not connected, please make sure you connect with your social worker. We typically connect our veterans with PVA, which is Paralyzed Veterans of America, an advocacy organization that helps facilitate and streamline the application process, as well as getting increases and getting them connected with the various grants. There's a home accommodation grant, an accessible van grant. So there's a lot that the VA can really provide for our veterans.
Okay, so continuing on, we next program that we have is our Howard, I never call it the Howard Abrams in-home care program. It's like a mouthful to say. We say the Abrams program, but it's our in-home care program. So most of our patients make the decision to stay at home throughout their journey with ALS. And being at home is where they want to be. They have their family members caring for them. And over time, this caregiving can, it definitely increases and the needs increase. So for family members and caregivers, this can get to be pretty overwhelming because it can become a 24/7 type of job. And, beginning to look at hiring help, having people come in to help them out, which can be very, very expensive because unfortunately in our country, Medicare, private insurances don't cover personal care needs, which are the biggest needs of our ALS patients. They just don't pay for it. And I think there are so many people who are under the impression that their Medicare or their insurance is going to cover things like home health aides coming out to the home, and they just don't. They may do it for a short period of time if you're receiving other skilled medical services, but once those skilled services end, the coverage for the home health aide ends as well. So this is kind of a sobering reality that we have in our country, but it is what we have. So part of our role is to help guide people to figure out how can we make this work at home? How can we set up the care and have it, paid for and managed and so forth. So, there are some people who may qualify for state-funded programs through Medicaid. That's usually a small percentage as well because the income guidelines for these programs are very low and kind of poverty level and below. And most people are above that. They're not millionaires, they're not making tons of money, but they're not, they're not at the poverty level either. So if you are eligible for the state-funded programs, we'll get you connected to your local office to begin that process. Some of our people may have something that's called long-term care insurance, which is an insurance plan that you've bought into and paid into over a long period of time. Many people don't have this, so we don't really see this very often, but it does happen, and that is great. If you have that policy, usually what happens is, you initiate your claim, and you may have a short elimination period where you do have to pay out of pocket for your caregiving, and then the insurance kicks in and pays for your caregivers to come out. So if you do have a long-term care insurance policy, that is great. For others, if it's becoming a financial hardship to pay for these caregivers coming in, we can talk with you about our in-home care grant program. And that would, you want to connect to your social worker, reach out and say, we're really struggling trying to make ends meet and pay for these caregivers, and we can sit down and talk about all of this. And then what happens is I just complete an assessment form and meet with our in-home care committee to present the case to them to say if we can provide this grant or not. So it's been really, really helpful for many of our families. And I've never worked for an organization that can offer something like this, so I really feel it's amazing that we are able to do this for our families. So don't hesitate to ask about it and reach out to your social worker. Another thing that we offer are our support or our resource groups. So throughout our coverage area, we have support groups that you can attend, and it's a time to be with others who truly understand what having ALS is like. As I think you probably all know, it's still considered a rare disease. Unless you've had some exposure to it, you probably don't know very much about it. I didn't know very much about it until I came on board. So it's really great to be with people who may have similar symptoms and experiences and someone to share with and support. We offer a variety of different groups. We have groups with patients and family members together. We have caregiver-only groups, which Janie does. We have a newly diagnosed group that meets quarterly. For anybody that's been newly diagnosed, it's an ideal group to attend, so you can really learn more about the disease and have many of your questions answered by Gail and Melissa. We offer 2 different types of bereavement support groups. So, am I missing any? I don't think so.
I think that's all of them.
So, I would really encourage, a lot of people, they hear the word support group and they're like, ugh, I don't want to do that. And I get it. I'd probably do the same thing. But I will say 9 out of 10 times the people who come to, I run one of our groups, when they come, they say, I'm really glad I did that. Mm-hmm. And they're nervous and they don't know what to expect, but I think it's just the comfort of knowing that you're not alone. You're with others who truly understand what it means to be diagnosed with something like this, and I feel like that's powerful, and people tend to keep on coming. If you don't like it, that's fine too. You don't have to come back. It's a personal decision, but they all meet online via Zoom. We started doing that when COVID hit, which I never even knew what Zoom was when that happened. But it's really, it makes it much easier for people to attend group because you can stay in your own home and do the group. So our group schedule is on our website, which is alsmidatlantic.org. If you just go under care services, you'll see the full schedule of when all of the groups meet. And you just want to reach out to the coordinator of that group to say that you'd like to attend, and then they'll send you the Zoom link so you can attend the group. So I would recommend it. We also offer home visits. Usually Gail and one of the social workers can come out and see you at home. It's for those, the clinics that we attend, we see people in person, which is so great, seeing someone in person as opposed to just phone calls and emails. But sometimes in clinic, you're pressed for time. There may be a few things that you really want to talk about, but you've got like 8 other people that need to come in and see you as well. So we'll set up a home visit where we can come out and see you at home, see how you're doing at home, what your setup is like, and just have kind of a more relaxed time to really talk about whatever it might be that you might be struggling with, or we may see that you're struggling with something and kind of talk about that with you and give ideas and suggestions and so forth. So if you ever felt like a home visit would be helpful to you, all you need to do is reach out to your social worker or reach out to Gail, and we're happy to set that up. So I would recommend that as well. And then we have our visiting volunteer program. And we have a happy customer who has a visiting volunteer. Thank you, Denise. So Denise has a visiting volunteer who she obviously loves, so that's really great. Gail oversees this program, and it's a really wonderful, it's kind of like a friendly visitor, someone who can come out and see you at home, spend time with you, maybe do some, easy social things together, or they can be there to provide the caregiver, your family member, a time to be able to go out and run some errands, or go get a haircut, or go see a friend and have lunch. So it kind of benefits both the person with ALS and their loved ones. And all of our VVs, we call them, visiting volunteers, have been touched by ALS as well. They've lost someone to the disease, and they understand the disease, so that's been really, I think, very beneficial as well, because they understand what it's like to be living with ALS. So if anyone has interest in getting a VV, reaching out to Gail, she'll certainly try. We have to, based on where you live and who might be available, we try to make that happen. Sometimes it might take a little bit of time, but it's something that we would certainly work to do if you have interest in doing that. So we also do advocacy. This is a big part of what we do as social workers and just really employees of ALS Mid-Atlantic. And our patients and family members are very strong advocates, and probably the best advocates that we have. We advocate for policies that would improve the lives of those living with ALS and their families and their caregivers. And over the years, by meeting with elected leaders, we've been able to increase federal funding for ALS, passage of the Medicare waiver for ALS patients, the presumptive disability ruling from Social Security Administration, and funding at Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. So at the federal level, we go down to Washington, D.C. and meet with elected officials down there to raise awareness for ALS, to ask for continued funding, increased funding for research. And really the most powerful part about that is the patients and families who come to those days where they're able to sit down and tell their stories, because again, not a lot of people know about this disease, and having someone sit there and tell about their story is extremely powerful, and I think has been instrumental in getting all of these things that we've been able to achieve. We're going to be going to Washington at the end of April for 2 days, and we're going to be in Harrisburg on May 5th for advocacy at the Capitol. We have a line item within the state budget for funding to support ALS services and needs, and we always ask to keep that there and then ask for a little more, and hopefully that will work again this year, because it really, that funding at the state level is very instrumental in many of the things that we do in the programs and stuff that we're able to offer. So advocacy is super important. You're big involved in advocacy, so that's really wonderful. So if you have any interest in getting involved in advocacy, you can reach out to us and we'll get you connected with the people so you can become a part of the different things that we do. We also offer our caregiver days. So caregivers are like the unsung heroes in this whole journey. People are diagnosed with ALS, and that's devastating. It's also devastating to your family members and your primary caregivers. They are there with you side by side, caring for you, wanting to care for you, be there for you. But sometimes you can get so immersed in the caregiving that you begin to lose sight of taking care of yourself. So part of our job is to kind of help you recognize that and support you with what can we do to give you, a bit of a break, to give you some time to, focus on yourself. Because if you don't focus on yourself, you're not going to be able to be the caregiver that you want to be. So one of the things that we created were caregiver days, where just caregivers are invited and they come and meet with other. So example, this year we did it.
She's mad that she's not invited.
You have the baseball games. So this year we did 2 Caregivers Day, one in New Jersey and one around here in King of Prussia.
Yeah, right, in King of Prussia here.
And Gail and I attended the New Jersey Caregiver Day, and it was held at a craft place where you can make candles or make these nice little wooden plaques, fun stuff. So in the morning we met as a group just to do kind of a support group session. And the caregivers, introduced themselves to each other and spent some time getting to know each other and sharing their stories and so forth. Then we had a very nice lunch, and then in the afternoon, we all sat together doing the craft that we chose to do. But the nice thing was during the afternoon, they continue to connect with one another. And it's just like a powerful, again, it's another feeling of I am not alone in this journey. There are other people here who understand what I'm going through, and I understand what they're going through. And that really is the purpose of Caregiver Days, to recognize how important it is to be a caregiver and to recognize how can we support these people to continue to be the caregivers that they want to be. So it was a wonderful day. Many of the women at our Caregiver Day have kept in touch since, which is great. It's someone to reach out to and connect with. So I would really encourage any caregivers here, when you see the information coming out about Caregiver Day, to go. And it's not all just women, there are men there too, so don't let that be a deterrent, because I mean, you're a little bit probably more in the minority, but it's a wonderful experience. I would really recommend that.
I just want to say, at our Caregiver Day in King of Prussia, we had one gentleman, Janie and I were there, and Carla, and he came in and said, I'm not going to stay for the craft. And we were like, we were making candles. It was a candle place. And we're like, okay. And by the end, we're like, you're staying. And he stayed, enjoyed the lunch, and made the candle. We said, you can give it to your wife as a gift. So I think he really enjoyed it, and they all really connected.
Yeah, it's just, I think just knowing you're not alone is so huge. It's like a real important part. We also do a lot of fun things, a lot of patient and family events, and it's a way to bring the ALS community together to provide help and hope for families impacted by ALS. And I would really encourage you all to get involved as much as you want to. But some of these are like our ALS patient and family luncheon at Longwood Gardens, which is a lovely day. You have free reign of Longwood Gardens, and then you have a wonderful lunch and hopefully a beautiful day. I think the weather sometimes is unpredictable, but it's fun to be with other people and just relax and talk and make those connections. Again, connecting with others is like a running theme through all of this. We have all of our walks that happen throughout the year. I noticed in the program that you all got today, on one of the pages is a listing of all of the walks. So that's a good thing to check out. Or going to our website again, you can see when all the walks are going to be. But they're fun. Like, you create a team and you come up with a team name and you get a t-shirt and everybody gathers together. The Philadelphia walk is down at Citizens Bank Park, and it usually happens at the end of October, early November, depending on the Phillies' schedule. But it's just so much fun it's empowering to see all these other people there and everybody out walking for a cure for ALS. And I would just strongly recommend, if you can do it, because it's really wonderful. And it's a way for your family to do something, to fight back, to work towards something, working towards finding treatments and a cure for this disease. So they're a lot of fun. I would recommend that. We have Knoebels Family Fun Day, which is in the summertime, and if you like amusement parks, Knoebels is the place to go. It's like taking a step back in time. It's really so much fun. Yeah. Kids, bring the kids, they love it. That's another fun day. We have our ALS Awareness Night, or Lou Gehrig Day, which is coming up on June 9th. And it's a night to recognize, to raise awareness again for ALS and to recognize those who are living with this disease. And it's a night in the ballpark, hopefully watching the Phillies win. So much fun. Definitely, if you have interest in that, if you go to our website, you can, if you go under events, and you'll find Lou Gehrig Day, you can order tickets there off the website, and a portion of those tickets, $5 per ticket, will come back to ALS Mid-Atlantic to support all the programs that we're able to offer and provide for you guys today. And then we do our Philadelphia and Hershey holiday parties, and I'm sure the other clinics do similar things as well. But again, a really fun day to bring the whole family. There's great food, lots of games, fun DJ. Santa's here, right? Is Santa here? No. The Fanatic. I know, yeah, the Fanatic is always there.
He brings Santa's gifts.
He brings Santa's gifts. So,
you're not allowed to say so.
I'm not allowed to say Santa, sorry. So, but that's a really fun day, and actually it's held here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it's here.
Fun time, especially the kids love it. They have so much fun. So that's just kind of a snapshot of things that we do. There's a whole lot of other things going on that, again, if you go to the website, you can see what's happening. But we're really here to support all of you. And I always tell everybody, do not hesitate to reach out. There's no dumb question, and you can call, email, text, whatever works best for you. But we're all here just to support you and your families, through this ALS journey. So if anybody has any questions, you can certainly ask them now.
And also we have a handout.
Oh, I forgot the handout.
That's okay. The handout has it just lists some other organizations that support people living with ALS, like Team Gleason, HARC ALS, Compassionate Care ALS,
Pete Freight's Foundation,
Project
Main Street, and ALS Ride for Life. So these are all organizations that also offer a lot of things in the way of maybe some types of equipment. They also offer grants for in-home care. HARC is more helping with, like a financial, like if you need
if you have a high copay for something, or
a generator, they've
with
paid
a lot
for
of
generators for people's homes.
Yeah.
So there is a handout that's in whatever you received today, and you can access that information. But by using what we're able to offer and what they're able to offer, it really is it's really wonderful what's out there. You just have to kind of do your homework to find it.
Or reach out to your social worker.
Yeah.
Did I say that 100 times?
That's okay. It is called social work in the community.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Oh, God.